I am grabbing the link and embedding it on our website.
And I don't see Jeff yet.
No, I see him. He's in there.
Really?
Yep.
That's me.
No, well, the picture says Jeff Holman.
In the rundown?
Yeah. So he is there. Hopefully, I won't kick this camera.
Don't do it. Hopefully, my phones won't ring.
Put your shit on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
Well, I put my cell phone on there, but my home line, because since I'm the only one that has a home line.
What is it? Star fuck off? Is that the code you type in?
Wow.
To stop
Wow.
ringing?
Wow. 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 Wow.
What?
No, it's not.
What?
There's some star
No.
thing. You can call the phone company and say, "Don't call me." There's star
Oh,
69, right?
I don't know
There's
how to do that.
There's all these
I'm
star
a millennial.
things.
I'm not a millennial. Yeah, he's right. There's some sort of.
You're too young to know all that shit.
Right, I am. But next time I'll put on a Do Not Disturb.
Oh, by the way, I put pins in there just to piss you off.
Actually,
Don't worry.
You do what we do, which is if the phone rings, you have to take whoever
take the
calls
call,
and
right.
put them on the air.
That hasn't happened.
It might be a telemarketer.
That would be
It hasn't happened for a while, but
Hi, I'm doing a show. I can't talk to you. Call me back.
right.
His name is
I
Dan
do that
Leonard,
to my mother
818.
all the time. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'm not doing a show, Ma. Come on, stop it.
Well,
Oh, I'm
it's
doing
a
a show.
It's a good thing that people don't know my landline number, but
Yeah. It's in a database.
somebody actually probably is going to call now that you said that. Are we live on Facebook?
We'll let you know. Are we actually live? Yeah, we've been live for 2 minutes.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
This is not a broadcast network, so don't.
Yeah,
worry.
but for me it is. So this is not good. People are going to hold this against me. So this is not good.
Nobody's on yet.
Nobody's.
Oh,
I,
that's
I,
good.
I see 3 people on there.
7.
This is not good.
They will join
Only
in
your-
massive amounts.
Only your enemies are there watching so far. We're
Right.
good.
Probably they're hoping he flubs. He's going to flub the first question. We know it.
Gosh, if this
Only
ain't fun,
Dan.
if this isn't
Oh.
fun, we ain't doing it anymore.
Right.
That's all I gotta tell you.
It's fun. You guys are on your what? 5th, 7th, 8th?
11th year.
Look at you.
11th season.
Wow. Still at the same studio?
Well,
Yeah.
it's the 7th year we've been doing it from here,
Right.
and then we were
Okay,
doing it,
so-
we were doing it for like
5
almost
years.
5 years
Four
before
or 5
that.
years remote. Yeah.
From Buffalo
Okay.
and Santa Monica.
So we've now been doing
Okay.
it. We've now been doing it longer in person than we did remotely.
That's good.
True. That's
Yeah.
true.
That's
Well,
true.
no,
That's
the
true.
last 2 years we haven't been
Well,
doing.
shit. Yeah, that messed it all up.
Yeah, it just totally screwed up
That
the
did
whole
mess it
thing.
all up.
West Coast. Just say West Coast.
Right,
Studios
exactly.
great.
West Coast.
Exactly.
West Coast.
Okay, let me see if I can hide my phone.
French toast. West Coast.
Oh, I could put it in my other room. But we're live.
Live to drive.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Stand by.
Standing by.
So much stuff to do.
We'll have you out of here at 6. And since
Oh.
and when we finish at the top of the hour, you can just go. You don't have to say goodbye. Once we say thanks, Everett, you go fine. And when we go to the break, you can just break.
Oh, I wasn't sure. You might want to do extra shots from here,
No. So the way we'll open it with a cold open with the 3 of us,
Mhm.
and and you
You'll
can.
ju-
Our guest tonight is Everett Oliver. You go, hi, how you doing? And then we'll go. Okay, I mean, that's how we've been doing it. And then
Oh my God! So hi, Dan told me to say hi.
you can even do that. That's fine.
Dan, the point is, we're trying to, got to bring some humor to it, some life to it.
That's how
Don't
we've
kick them
always
out of
done
there.
it. We've never taken it seriously here. Never, not once.
As George goes like this. No, you're not taking it seriously.
Never, not once have we taken it seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. It is 4:59.
Oh, I spilled water on me again.
Okay.
This is the right rundown. Yes,
Your
yes.
camera's like showing what it's you and your camera. It picks up sometimes on the camera.
What?
No, no.
You talking to me?
This camera is picking up your camera.
Oh, that's okay. We're going to say, look at all the cameras we got in front of us here.
I know.
But I can
It's a great little setup now.
Showing how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's like 30 seconds.
And if with a wide shot, you can see more than how the sausage is made.
Right. And I can just go
You
like
can
this.
see the sausage.
And I can be totally relaxed here on the couch. And
Therapy.
And I'm going to count you in.
all righty.
5, 4.
Here we go.
Hey, it's time for Voiceover Body Shop. It's this camera over here, right?
Yeah, that
That
one
one
over
over there,
That one
okay.
over there.
Yeah, we got lots of cameras set up here tonight because we have a great guest who's going to tell us all about auditioning, and that's Everett Oliver. Everett, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We're not too bad.
He's a guest worthy of setting up extra cameras.
That's right.
Getting our green screen working
All that stuff.
because Everett's here.
That's right. So if you've got a question for Everett about auditioning, throw it in the chat room because I know Jeff Holman's hiding in there somewhere, writing down every question and making sure we get those questions so we can ask Everett a little bit later on. But we got lots of stuff to talk to him about in the next half
This
hour.
could
or so.
quite possibly be one of the most important guests we've had on this year because he is literally telling you how to get through an audition and sound like you know what the heck you're doing.
Right. So
It's a big deal.
I know. Voiceover Body Shop right now.
VoiceOver Body Shop is brought to you by VoiceOverEssentials.com, the home of Harlan Hogan's signature products. Source Elements, the folks who bring you Source Connect. JMC Demos, when quality matters. VOHeroes.com, become a hero to your clients with award-winning voiceover training. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your voice actor website shouldn't be a pain in the butt. VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for voiceover success. And by World Voices, the industry association of freelance voice talent. And now, here's your hosts, Dan and George.
Well, hello there. I'm Dan Leonard,
And I'm George Whittam.
and this is Voiceover
Body Shop.
or VOBS.
BS.
And we are back in our wonderful studio, surrounded by microphones and cameras and all sorts
Studio
of
version 7?
I guess.
we've revamped a few times. Each time, because we haven't had a pattern of doing the show here.
That's
so
true.
Each time we try things that are a little bit different.
Right. But tonight we're like, I want multiple cams.
Yeah.
So, give me the single
And
shot
a green
there, Sue.
screen.
Right.
And
Single
a
shot.
green screen.
Okay, see, now there's the two single shots.
Whoa.
Right.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah, look at that. Here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Single cam. And, we finally figured out how to do all this stuff. So
Just in time.
why are we doing it? Because we can.
Because it's fun.
That's right. But it's been an interesting couple of weeks. I, of course, had and aside from my boo-boo from last week when we were
Yeah.
in Toronto, then I had a major boo-boo because somebody rear-ended me, and then I hit them in the car in front, and they both left.
You were a pinball in a pinball game, and the
And-
game just drove away.
Right, and I became an accordion. And
That is not even, I don't even know what to say, other than we're glad you're okay.
I'm glad
you
I'm
have
okay,
some boo-boos, and you now have a new car because you really had no choice.
No, and if you,
You
try to
couldn't
buy,
even buy the same car you owned. It was impossible.
if you try to buy a new car right now, you're going to be shocked at what dealerships are charging over the MSRP.
It's disgusting.
It is, and they're making up for all the money they lost during the pandemic.
And the
I
gas
guess.
companies are making up for all the money they lost during never.
I don't think
Anyway.
no, I don't think they've been losing.
That's
a
another story.
cent. Anyway, we want to talk about helping you make some money, and the way you do that as a voice actor is by auditioning. So we decided, why don't we have somebody on who really, 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 really understands auditioning? And so we figured out, well, why don't we talk to Everett? So anyway, Everett
No-brainer.
Oliver is a 25-year veteran of the entertainment industry. He specializes in professional directing for voiceover auditions. He has experience as an animation demo co-producer, a private coach for commercial and animation, as well as a career building consultant. That is a career building consultant.
No,
a career building consultant. Just in case you were wondering. What tips does he offer to help you book the work you desire? Let's welcome back to our show. It's been a while, though. And that's Everett Oliver. Everett, are you in there somewhere?
I am here.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah. Eventually, we're going to get everybody back in the studio. Of course, I don't know where we're going to put them.
Including an audience?
Including an audience.
You do remember we had about
18 people in here one night.
I was there. I was there.
So we have a witness that will prove that actually happened.
It was pretty fun.
I know. All right. So you coach people with their auditions. I mean, but let's start. Now, you've been in the business for like 25 years.
Plus.
What brought you to this sort of niche area of coaching?
Basically, I worked at a talent agency, and they basically threw me in the booth, and they said, "Listen, you need to start, directing and helping actors." Since I came from the casting background, I came from the casting side of animation. So when all of my shows ended in animation, I talked to my mentor, who was Charlie Adler, and Charlie Adler told me, "Oh, you need to go ahead and work at a talent agency and be a booth director." And I had no idea what a booth director was. And then I used to work for AVO Talent. So Sandy Schnarr and Peter Verano, they threw me in the booth. And so that's how my life started. I just started directing and started understanding actors and picking up little things here and there to help them book. So that's how it really started. So I just basically fell into it. Yeah.
So talent would come into the agency, which doesn't go on a whole lot anymore.
Not anymore.
And there was a booth there, and you would sit there, and they would audition for things, and you're like,
slow down.
I would slow down, speed up. That's not you. Get out of your head. I would, is that what you have? That's not gonna work. I would give them my honest opinion.
Yeah.
And the basic honest opinion would be my facial expressions, because everybody could read my facial expressions. So if it was a smile and go like this, that's great. But if it was one of those, oh, that means I have to do it again. Oh yeah.
You don't have to name names. Were there people that were showing up in your booth a lot more than others? Were there a few that you saw far more regularly than others?
Oh, yes. I mean, they came in on a pretty regular basis. I mean, we had a full schedule. So I would audition from like 9:30 in the morning until probably 4:30 in the afternoon. And it was in 15-minute increments. So you was receiving about maybe 5 or 6 pieces of copy. And you literally had to study the night before. So when you came into the booth, you had 2 takes, maybe 3, to get it right. And then I would turn around and be like, "Oh, get out. Next character, Because the agents would be out there saying, "You're taking way too long with them. This is not something where they came in and studied. They had to be prepared."
They were coming in cold on these.
Totally. And so now, I try to have my actors, me doing it for myself, try to tell them, "Listen, you have to prepare and come at it the same exact way." Because what's going to happen when you book a job and you're put on the spot? And the casting people and the producers are going to be throwing things at you, and you have to be ready. So this is what I try to prepare the actors who I work with.
Now, I'd like to think that people understand the importance of taking auditions seriously and to not keep doing the same thing. How do you learn to differentiate yourself and do something different every time? How do you, what are your suggestions?
You have to come from an angle of a point of view. I think that a lot of people are basically just reading the copy. They're not actually breaking down the scripts or not understanding what's happening in the scripts, or they're following the same type of the directions. They're following the specs. They're not thinking themselves outside of the box. So, my suggestion would be you've got to be creative. there are now thousands of you who are auditioning for the same part across the whole world. So do one take that comes from the actual specs that which they want, and then throw in a second take that's going to wow them. Don't give them the same acting style, but give them something that's really going to make your personality, bring your personality into it, because everybody has different personalities, and that's what's going to help you book. And you got to keep at it. You can't, do voiceovers for 2-3 months and then stop and then pick back up. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep researching. You have to keep playing. You've got to keep coaching. You got to keep doing workout groups. This is going to make you a better audition actor.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how everybody seems like they get locked in this mode of imitation.
Yeah.
But I guess I mean, if you're starting from literally zero, is that where you start? Is imitating? Or is that just
No.
a natural proclivity of a person who does voiceover because we love to imitate?
No, I mean, the first thing I tell people is you have to take acting. You have to do improv. Those are the first two. I mean, I met a lot of people who say, I was actually working with somebody today, and I could tell that they were imitating, like a coworker. And I was like, no, let's go back to basics. You have to know the acting. It's all about your acting. It's nothing about your voice. I can't even tell you how many people are so concerned about that. And I have to drill it into them with tough love.
Yeah, we know.
Well, that's another gateway. That's another gateway into voiceover, right? Which is the thing that everybody hears at least once. You've got a great voice, aren't you doing voiceover? I get that all the damn time.
Right.
And you hear that a lot.
And
aren't
you're
you
not.
doing voiceover? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing voiceover.
No,
And I could talk.
Yeah, I get it all the time. They say, "What do you do for a living?" I'm a voice actor. Oh, I can tell. Like, it's just the way I sound, for crying out loud. But, perhaps I talk a little bit more properly than other people.
You enunciate?
And I, unlike a lot of kids today, I just keep talking like this. I have no idea what they're saying.
Complete sentences?
Yeah. Hey, give me the deets on that. I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
Tell them to slow down.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're working with a lot of kids these days. And when I say kids, I mean anybody under 40.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah. It's just a different culture. And how do you have to work with folks like that? Because, I mean, all right, you're probably closer to that than we are, but,
Let's be clear about that.
All right.
I work, yes. In fact, the good news is today I've been working with, she's got to be about 9, maybe 10 years old. And she booked something today. And I've been working with her for about a good year on learning very conversational reads. She comes from the theater background. So she's been shouting at me for a couple of months.
You kind of have to, you have to detune her, right?
Right, the
Like,
little old lady in the back row. Hey!
pull back the throttle.
Right.
Yes. But I mean, she's learned,
Yeah.
I'm one to give, you have to do homework. You have to do research. You have to keep studying. And I've drilled it into her. So I was very proud to find out that she got a call back probably about 3 weeks ago. And she just found out today she booked. So that was my, pride and joy.
Is that a
in her.
commercial thing?
Commercial.
It was an animation. It was actually
animation.
an animation.
Wow.
Yes,
What,
so
when you're talking about you need to do your homework, you need to do your research. Would you feel like
have
that's
to-
more for animation stuff or
that's for everything across the board.
everything?
You need to be watching
What's the kind of
television
research you're doing?
shows,
Yeah.
television shows, animation shows. You need to find out what the trends are happening commercial wise. You need to find out what kind of animation shows that are out there, movies for animation, TV, what new promos that are happening, what's going on in the narration world. I mean, you need to be soaking up everything like a sponge.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not doing that. And what they're doing is, hey, I get this audition. And then the first thing they think of me. And then they contact me. And then I'm asking them a whole series of questions. And I can tell instantly that they're not going to book this because the fact is that they have not done what they're supposed to do, and they expect me to do it for them, and that's no.
Mm-hmm.
And I say with a smile.
Yeah. Once again, if you're just joining us, you've already missed a ton. That's important. Everett Oliver is our guest. We're talking about auditioning, because that's what we do as voice actors. We got to audition so people can hear us and say, that's the right voice for doing that. If you've got a question for Everett about auditioning or coaching or one of these things that he deals with, you can put it in the chat room, and Jeff Holman is right there, and he's going to write it down, and we're going to ask Everett in the next segment in just a little bit. So don't be shy. Ask your questions. You're going to think of it like 2 minutes before we're done, and all of a sudden there's like 10 questions. But now we want you to put your questions in so we can answer them in the next bit. Anyway, okay, so what are some, you've mentioned this a little bit. You talked about people just doing it the way they think that they should do it, or just talk their voice. What are some of the common mistakes that you see people make when they're sending in auditions?
They take too long with the audition. Something that should take them probably 15 to 30 minutes. It's taking them 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, that's too long. Yeah.
They're overthinking it. Editing, they have no editing skills. That's part of it. So the editing is slightly off. Timing, pacing, like I said, they don't study. They're not marking their scripts up. That's really a major factor. They're not sure what's happening with that. They don't improv. How many is that?
That's enough. That's enough to make a difference, I think, with some people.
They don't have a point of view. I'm trying to think of all the people I'm talking to today. They're listening to their voice and not concentrating on their acting. That's what I can think of right now.
Right, and that's a ton, because that's what and I hear a lot of auditions too. People are sending us audio all the time, and they're like, well, they're just reading so we can hear what the audio sounds like and stuff. But they all try to put a performance in for the stuff they send you, George.
Put a performance in, like a long script, you mean?
Not a long script, but at least try to sound like an audition, as opposed to, hi, this is my audio. And
I insist on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they send me okay, I'm talking into a microphone, I'm like, no.
How would you use this microphone?
I need to hear, your technique, how you place the mic, how far away, how much energy you project.
Right.
Comes across flat. Comes across flat reads too.
Yeah, whatever it is, if you read flat, that's the way I want to hear it, because that's going to determine what we're going to be doing today.
Right, exactly. So people make a lot of mistakes. I mean, especially people who are new. People who have been doing it for a while, they still make those kinds of mistakes too. I mean, after a while, I imagine some people feel like they can just phone it in because they always book. You find that a common thing? Or do the people that always book, they are pros and they are always on and they always get it done?
They get it. I mean, the people are pros. Yes, you're exactly right. They know. They get it done. I think now the thing is it's about now stepping outside of your comfort zone. That's what's going to really help you book. And now I'm working with actors to go not on a surface level is what I call it, but you got to go on a much more deeper level. Because of the simple fact is that now that we're all doing stuff from home, you don't really know what your competition is.
That's true. Well, we never know what our competition is. We do these auditions.
I did.
We throw.
I did. When I worked at agency.
Right. You heard them all. We didn't. Right. We never heard what anybody else was doing. It was like we were just guessing. Why did this guy book it? Why didn't I? And they'll never tell you. You probably will.
I did.
Oh, good. Once again, if you got a question for Everett, throw it in the chat room right now, whether you're in Facebook Live, whether you're on YouTube Live. Where else are you doing this? I don't know. Someplace else. It just goes out into the ether and everybody's watching. But no matter where you're watching, if there's a chat room there, throw the question in there right now. What do you do to help people improve? I mean, obviously, if they're at an agency, when you were working in an agency, you were working with pros, people who agents have said, okay, we want to work with these people. Now you're working with people who are trying to break into the business. How do you get them to improve? And I'm sure it's pretty much the same answer, that they had to do their homework.
I just, I drill stuff into them. I mean, it's constantly, attending classes. I'll have on some online classes. I'll bring talent agents, I'll bring casting people in front of them to see what they can do in front of a casting person or an agent. And then I'll give them personal notes. I'll do private, coachings with them and tell them specifically as to what they're doing wrong. So I'm constantly drilling into them. I could hear Patrick Kushner in my head now, like trying to come up with ways to get out of your head, or, having quotes and sayings in front of you. Just so the fact is that you're going to look up and you're going to see, oh, I need to be consistent in your character, or I need to add improv. So it's just like a thing. They've got to bring their A game for me to go ahead and pull out their performance. But the other thing that just hit me too is they also got to be willing to go ahead and play. I think that's one of the things that's missing also in actors' performances, is that the lack of them playing, because they're so busy worried about booking the job. So they need to be vulnerable for them to be comfortable as to who they are.
Right. And real actors really know that.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I mean, they're all actors. They all come from acting backgrounds, whether or not they're at non-union or union agencies. I have an agent, I don't have an agent. But I think that the main consistent thing which is hitting me now is they don't understand who they are. And I could pinpoint who they are within probably 30 seconds to a minute, because I'm tapping into them and fully understanding them. And that's really one of my unique gifts that I have, that I can go ahead and say, that's not you, that's somebody else. So if you're going to do whatever you're going to do as a first take, let's do that as a first take. Let's lay that audition down as a first take, because that's what you came up with. Now I'm looking for you. Right. And let's go even deeper, depending on what the kind of copy is. Right. And stop worrying about freaking out about, oh my God, I got to pay my health insurance, or I need to book this job because, they're going to tow away my car. And I think people get caught up in everyday life, and this is why they don't book. Right. So I've had people book when people are just not feeling well. I've had people that book because they're not thinking about it. They're vulnerable.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting.
So you book when things are happening in your personal life, that you're going through some sort of trauma. That way, because you're like, especially women who are about to give birth, or, guys who are you just go in there and they just do it because they don't care.
Maybe you had a loss. Maybe something, some tragedy.
Something
happened,
really tragic.
And you're kind of raw and you're a little on the edge.
Right.
What I do is I feel out the actor in the atmosphere. So I have a sense and I have aware of, once I kind of understand the dynamics of whatever situation is happening, because then I could tap in and then I could go ahead and say, listen, like I had, for example, I can do it from example. I had a little girl who was sick, and I could tell she wasn't feeling well. And her mom was like, we're just going to let her do it. Her mom, I was like, okay, I'm not going to worry about mom. I'm going to worry about her. She's just going to come in the booth. And I said to her, what's wrong with you? She said, oh, I'm not feeling well. I said, we're going to do 2 takes. God bless you. We're going to read 2 takes. Right, exactly.
Chill.
We're going to do 2 takes. And that's it. She did 2 takes and she wound up booking the job.
That's great.
She didn't even think about it.
Yeah. And then, of course, she was feeling much better when she actually did the job. And it's like, no, that's not what we want. You want you sick. No.
Not necessarily. She's a pro. She's a pro.
That's what we like. That's what we like to hear.
Well, what's got to be interesting is that she would have heard that performance later, like I would think.
And then
she would hear because how much time between the audition and the day you do the gig? How much time elapses sometimes?
It depends. It be a month? Animation, it could wind up being like probably 3 months, maybe 6 months.
Right.
It depends on the production schedule. If it's commercial, the turnaround is going to be a little quicker. Promo is going to be a little quicker. Every other genre, narration, medical, all that stuff takes, maybe a couple of weeks.
So you definitely gonna have to replay or play back what it is that you did that booked you that job.
Exactly.
And what you sounded like that day.
Yeah. So let me take this a little bit more in the macro. How do you help someone find their voice? And I know you know what I mean, because everybody has their voice, but everybody seems to want to sound like somebody else. We certainly see that in the tech world where it's like, hey, you got to make me sound great and stuff like that. How do you help people find their authentic voice?
I listen to them as a person, and I get this kind of a sixth sense or a feeling, and I listen to who they are and whether or not their wall is up. I get a lot of actors that are walls up, and once I'm able to go ahead and either send them to someone or pull their wall down, that's how I can find who their actual voice is. It's about them being confident, and I'm looking for the confidence. That's how I help them find their voice. I've got to get them to be confident. I got to get them to be able to play. As silly and as fun as I am, I need them to be just somewhat like me, not as insane as I am, per se.
Yeah, that's going a bit far.
But that's what I do, because I bounce around. If you've seen me in person, I'm bouncing around, I'm moving.
Yeah, you're like Tigger.
You sound like my little brother saying that to me. But it's once I get them in a comfortable level, and once they feel comfortable with themselves, then I pull out. I can hear their voice. Then I say, that's it. That's you. Now read the copy. I just automatically go ahead and get them in a state of read the copy, and read the copy now before you lose it.
Right. Now, you've been working with a lot of kids lately. I mean, like, as you were just saying, little girl, little guy, people under 10. How do you direct them? Is it a little bit different than dealing with adults? Because, you can't really throw the emotion in there the same way.
It's about it depends on who the little kid is. So I have to understand them, and then I have to understand the parent. And so
that's an important part. Is the
that's
parent
a
is
very
always
important
an
part.
Yeah.
And the parent is there. So I have to allow the parent to be the parent, but at the same token, I'm here for the child. So I have to understand the kid's personality. Tell me about what you like, as far as your subjects in school. What do you like to do for fun? What do you do in your off time? I need to know everything about the kid. Once I get to understand their acting, understand who they are, and then I can go ahead and push the parent aside, then I'm able to go ahead and dig down in, and pull performances out of the kid. Because kids just want to go. They just want to do it. They're not thinking about it. So for me, I sometimes have to throw in a laugh or a joke here and there, get the kid to calm down, and then, make it fun.
All righty. Yeah. We're talking with Everett Oliver. Once again, if you've got a question, throw it in the chat room. I'm looking forward to lots of questions in the next segment. So so get those in.
We're
there.
looking at them in YouTube and Facebook, by the way. So whatever thing you're on, you can type it.
Just, if you can type.
And Jeff will grab it.
That's right. And so anyway, we're going to take a quick break right now. We'll get back to some of those questions. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Everett Oliver here on Voiceover Body Shop. Don't go away.
This is the Latin lover narrator from Jane the Virgin, Anthony Mendez, and you're enjoying Dan and George on the Voiceover Body Shop.
Well, hello there. I bet you weren't expecting to hear some big-voiced announcer guy on your new orientation training for Snapchat, were you?
This is Virgin Radio. Well, okay, we're not that innocent.
There's jeans for wearing and there's jeans for working. Dickies, 'cause I ain't here to look pretty.
She's a champion of progressive values, a leader for California, and a voice for America.
It's smart. It's a phone. It's a smartphone. But it's so much more. The files are ready. Don't forget to pick up the eggs. What time is hockey practice? Check out this song.
It's the end of the road for Rick. Is this you and me, Rick? When hope is lost.
The i8 from BMW. Who said saving the planet couldn't be stylish?
Hey, it's J. Michael Collins. Bet you think I'm going to try and sell you a demo now, huh? I think they speak for themselves. But I will give you my email. It's jmichael@jmcvoiceover.com. Now, if Dan will stop waxing his mustache for a minute, we'll get back to the show.
Headphones for voiceover? Why not get the headphones made for voiceover? That's why I use Harlan Hogan's Signature Series Voice Optimized Headphones 2.0 from VoiceOverEssentials.com. Harlan's cans are incredibly strong and lightweight. At only 8.4 ounces, the combination's straight coiled audio cable stretches from 5 to 10 feet. It comes with 2 gold-plated mini plugs and a studio standard 1/4-inch screw-on adapter, and includes the new mini jack on the left headphone for easy cord replacement. The studio monitoring headphones are optimized for voice work. Now even better, the Harlan Hogan Signature Series VoiceOver Headphones 2.0. And for a limited time, when you buy the headphones, you'll also get a free autographed copy of Harlan's best-selling book, VO, Tales and Techniques of a Voiceover Actor, 2nd edition. It's full of stories from the trenches and insights about making the most of your voiceover career. Go on over to VoiceOver Essentials right now and order yours.
Hello, VOBS viewer, listener, aficionado, fanatic. I'm David H. Lawrence, the 17th. I'm the same as you. I love this show, and I'm glad you're watching. Last week, we opened and closed registration with 1 week. That's the only week it's open for the VO Heroes Pro training curriculum. If you want to build a spectacular, successful, and practical and satisfying voiceover career, I'm here to help you with that. And one of the big questions we got was, that's a pretty hefty price tag. Do you have a payment plan? And I'm happy to tell you that I created one. For those of you who looked at the price of the incredible value that you were getting, but the price was a little outside your budget, how do we do this? So we have an option of a 3 or a 4-month plan. All you have to do is go to voheroes.com/go. That's voheroes.com/go. And you'll get all the details. If you want to jump in, but you didn't have all the money all at once, we can give you a payment plan. Check it out at voheroes.com/go. And I'll see you inside the program.
This is Bill Ratner, and you're enjoying Voiceover Body Shop with Dan Leonard and George Whittam. VOBS.TV.
And we're back. At least I can look into the camera and, oh yeah, we're back.
I trust that we are back.
I'm assuming that we are.
Yes.
Anyway, Everett Oliver is our guest, our good friend who is an audition director, and we have a pile of questions, which is
that we do.
Fabulous. Look, if you're voice actors, you can't be shy. Ask your questions. What do we got?
We'll start out with an easy one that came in email from Sarah Switek. And her question is, thank you so much for hosting the show with Everett Oliver tonight. She says to Dan and I, my question is, again, how long should a voiceover resume be? I'll ask first, is there such thing as a voiceover resume?
I have one.
Your demo. Your demo's your resume. Some people have a list of credits that they've worked on, list of coaches. Mm-hmm. It should probably be a page. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go ahead and write the shows that you've booked, the coaches that you've worked on.
And what context would you use I just never hear the word resume thrown around talking about. But what's a context where a resume would be useful?
Like for video games. For video games, if for anime, mm-hmm. Not so much animation. They really don't care. But I would say for anime and for video games. For sure, especially if they have new directors, especially young directors, that people who have been, who are new to that field, mm-hmm. and people who've been doing it for a very long time. And your demo is your calling card.
Yeah, that's an important part. Now, here's the thing that I'd always wondered about, because we all have demos. Some of us have more demos than others, mm-hmm. but generally people get booked off of their auditions, don't they? I mean, how important is your demo really to the whole production process?
Well, Dan, things have changed now in 2022. Okay. Not everybody gets booked off of their auditions anymore. They get booked off of their demos. Oh. So yes, it's very important that you have your demos current. I would say probably within maybe 2 years. You probably want to go ahead and get a new demo. I think it's kind of insane to have a demo for per category, for each genre. But you definitely, I mean, animation and video games, you should use those as two separate demos. Maybe have a narration demo, commercial, and a promo. Um, Maybe a medical narration demo for sure. You'll need one for that. E-learning. I don't necessarily know you need an e-learning corporate narration, but people are gonna, if you're doing two separate things, sure, you need a demo for that.
Maybe if you had more of a body of work in those different genres, then you might want to do a cut reel of them, right? Because it's so unique to that thing, or no?
I mean, they used to do that years ago, probably 2015, 16, and 17, they would have that. But now, I mean, it's a short time span.
Yeah.
So when people are listening to stuff, they want stuff really quick, short, to the point. And the thing that drives me insane is you need to have your telephone number on your website and not just have your email.
Yeah.
Yes. And not be looking for it. So.
Yeah. That's one of the fascinating things about people, having a voiceover website. It's like, it's got to be animated and it's got to do that. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. That
business
Your
card.
name, your demos, and how to find you.
And your logo, your branding, that should all be able to just stand out.
Right. All righty. Question from Patricia Andrea. She says, I have one thing for the guys. So I've been in the booth, been practicing, got a bit of voice coaching, still looking for a voiceover coach, but I'm stuck in the types of samples to make as new. And do I start on Fiverr?
How long has she been coaching? See, when I do career consultations, this is it's stuff that I need to know. I need to know how long you've been coaching. I need to know if what kind of acting classes have you taken, what kind of improv classes have you taken, where are you located. I need to know basic foundation work for me to go ahead and answer her question.
Right. Well, perhaps she should contact you. And how would she do that? We'll give you the chance again later, but how would they do that?
Oh, my initial EO at voiceactingdirector.com.
All right. Once again, we're talking with Everett Oliver. We're talking about auditioning for voiceover work. And you specialize in animation and in gaming, right?
More animation, I would say. I specialize in commercials. So I've, audition-wise, I cover all genres because it's all acting to me, So it's just a matter of me hearing how well you connect to that piece of copy that you're reading and bringing yourself to it. But really, my main focus is animation is top priority, and video commercial is my second.
All right. And if we're talking about improv, we got Scott Parkin coming on in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
His rib is healed, so he's actually going to come back.
He's
on.
ready. He's ready.
Right. And if it's still sore, he's still going to bring alcohol, which is the most important thing, which apparently he thinks is great for improv. Anyway, next question from Terry Briscoe.
Terry asks, Everett, when you give that second take, give us some things to focus on to make it pop. For instance, pacing, raising or lowering your voice, different accents, etc. So you got the first take down. You're happy with it. Where do you go from there?
Depends on what the copy is. You want to go on a deeper level. Yes, it has to do with pacing. It depends. If you didn't have a point of view in your first take, you need to bring that to your second take. Accents, only do an accent that you feel comfortable with, that an accent's from a region of where you come from or heritage. If you're putting on a phony accent, I would not do it because they're going to know right away. Second take, you don't want to emulate the first take as far as your acting style. So, I say go for it. Stepping outside of your comfort zone. If you think it's going to be over the top, a lot of people who think that going over the top is going to make them really over the top, but it's not. Which means to me is that they've never able to. They don't know how to get out of the comfort zone. They don't know what being like over the top is, so they're scared. They're afraid to even go there. And so what I do is I push them. So you need to push yourself to go over the top. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be over the top because your personality doesn't fit that, depending on who you are. And sometimes, you know, for animation, you have to do stuff that's over the top. That's what's going to make you stand out.
Yeah, and that's in anime. I've learned animation is always over the top. It's like, you know, it's not normal human
reserved.
conversation. It's always
right.
But video game is the opposite, right? Video game is more about realism.
It's real. It's more about realism and cinematic, right? It's really pulling those layers and really connecting and bringing your, like, depending on, you know, some casting directors like to hear your heritage, bring some of your background foundation to the read from where you come from, where your family comes from. Yeah. So yeah.
Here's one from Grace Newton. She asks, as a booth director, when you were a booth director, what is the most challenging thing that you face in a day?
Auditioning one person with 6 pieces of copy and trying to get it done in 15 and 20 minutes.
Trying to get too much done in too little time.
That used to, right. And it was a constant, you know, being at the agency was great. It gave me the foundation, and even to this day, of me moving people in a fast, quick pace. But that was the challenging part. Is the deadlines. We got to get the deadlines out, and you guys have to be ready and be prepared. And rather than just coming in like it's you didn't study like you would do in high school and college. I'm thinking of one of my students right now. They're trying to do it off the cuff.
Right. And they know,
you know, it works for some people. It works for some people. You know, some people could.
Sounds
What's
like
good?
something I would do. That sounds like me.
Yeah, that's why they mention your name.
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting question, and George and I are going to look at this and go, "What?" From Dan Alpern, he says, "Do you want to know if I audition from the road or a hotel room, but have a better sounding home studio? Should you tell them?" Well, I mean,
that's actually an interesting question.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, I mean, but I always find that people are like, I got to audition from the road. Unless, of course, they're in the road company of hair or something.
So he's worried that his audition he does from the road isn't representative of his home studio.
Right.
So I guess I'm saying, why bother?
Right.
Should you bother?
Right. I wouldn't mention. Well, I think you should. I mean, you know, you're submitting something. I don't think in this day and age, unless your sound quality is that bad, that you shouldn't. But I think you should. You make those preparations when you're going on a trip. You should bring all that stuff with you. I bring my stuff with me when I'm traveling. So why not? You know, but I wouldn't let the client know that I'm auditioning, you know, from the road at home. I wouldn't say that. You know, you make sure your sound quality is just as good at home as it is on the road.
So you need to pull it off. What you're saying is you need to pull off a really good
make it work.
Road
make
kit.
it work. Right. Make it work.
All right.
Do what you have to do. You're a professional, so do what you have to do.
And that requires knowledge of how to record on the road. And you don't just you can't wing it. You have to know what it sounds like.
It's advanced.
Absolutely. Well, it wouldn't be Voiceover Body Shop unless J. Horace Black had a question for us. So,
Jay,
you go for it.
He said, I just want to say thanks again for facilitating the connection with LA representation. Apparently that happened. Can't tell you how pleased I am. Appreciate you, bro. He's been getting a lot of auditions lately that only ask for one take. What's your suggested approach for these kinds of things? And are they just doing that because they're just
they probably don't have the time. They probably don't want to listen to everything. If you're going to do one take, go for it. Don't hold back. Bring every nook and cranny. And Jay, stop worrying and stop thinking, because you tend to worry and think.
And he asks a lot of questions.
He does.
Stop asking. Just do it. Just whatever it is. Because Jay, there's too many people auditioning for the same thing. You have to. My thing is this: you have to go to a conference. Once you go to a conference and you see how many people is at a conference, that's going to tell you what your competition is. Okay. So I don't know what else to say. You just need to just do it and go for it. You know, you guys have to also, I had notes here too. You guys have to network. You have to put yourself out there. Some of you guys think that you're going to actually book from just doing an audition. Not in 2022, not in 2023, and not in 2024. There's so many of you. You have to put yourself out there through marketing, through, you know, having a relationship with your coach, through going to conferences. This is how you get seen, and this is how you get noticed. Being at home, sticking at home, and being in your booth is not going to get you noticed. I've said my piece. Tough love's coming.
All right. Well, if we don't hear from you, what's it?
Jay, I mean, Jay's awesome. And we all take.
Oh, yes.
He asks really good questions, but it does show you that he's a thinker.
He's serious. He's serious about it, but he thinks. Yes. Yeah. And he should not think. He should just let it go and just do whatever comes natural, and trust yourself and trust your instincts. Right. You know, if you're playing it too safe and you know you've been playing it safe and it's not working out, then the other way of doing it is, okay, let me just go for it. Right. You know, meaning go big.
Right. Easier said than done for a lot of people. I mean, of course, if you really can't ad lib or you really can't be relaxed, voiceover perhaps is not the profession for you. I mean, you've got to be able to, you know, look outside the box and those sorts of things. How do you help someone relax and do that kind of thing? It's not easy. I mean, it's still hard for me, you know, except that I make them. You know, I've been doing it for years, and it's like
make them.
Yeah, you make them.
No, I do off the wall stuff. I get in their heads. I make them laugh. I do stuff to just relax them. Once I get them relaxed, then I go ahead and I approach to get into copy. You just have to I tell people actually to, go jump on a trampoline. I tell people to go exercise, go biking, go skateboarding. I tell people to go do something fun and then go do your audition. So that way you're in a really playful mind. So tons of people are doing that. Go have a conversation with whoever just to distract you. Go do gardening, go swimming, go walk your dog. Do something fun before you go ahead and you're going to go tackle those auditions. That's going to help you get into a mood, because you're in a playful mood. You're not thinking about it. And again, it should only take you 30 minutes. If it's taking you longer, you're wasting your time, as one of my agents would tell me. Wasting their time. They're not going to book it. They're overthinking it.
When somebody gets a script and they're ready, what is the prep process that you would like them to do when they first see it? There's the specs, there's the copy, and the specs sometimes can be much longer than the copy, which we tend to see an awful lot. What process would you like to see them do?
Read the script 3 times. Read the script enough 3 times so they're understanding what is required from them. Then after they read the script 3 times, they should go ahead and they should start marking the scripts. They should put in there where their emotional turns are going to be. They should where they're going to probably improv, where certain buttons that they're going to go ahead and get. Then go ahead and read the copy at least once on mic, just to kind of see where their true point of view is going to come through. Just read it. Read and act for the first take. Then read and act again for the second take where they're not thinking about it. Walk away for another 15, 20 minutes just to go ahead and clear their head, and then go back and read for the third take. They should have 3 different takes. They should be done in a half hour. And then when they're done, stop thinking about it. Check the labeling, because that's important. And leave it alone. Don't think about it. Don't call me. Don't think afterthoughts.
Don't call me.
Don't email me and say, "Oh, I need you to re-listen to this before I send it out." If you want me to listen to it, it's gonna cost. Exactly. Oh no, because my actors are bold enough. They will send me text messages. It's like, "Hey, I need you to see this." I'm like, "Okay, it's gonna cost you." It's gonna cost you. I'm listening.
Yeah, people need to let it go every now and again. You send it out. I mean, I've done so many auditions in my lifetime. It's like, go. Just shove it down the pipe and I got to go walk the dog, or I got to go. Feed the dog or something.
But you have to remember too, it's more than just these auditions. This is what I was saying earlier. It's about you really have to network and put yourself out there and meet people. This is how you're going to find work. You could keep auditioning till you're blue in the face, but if nobody knows who you are, that's going to be a problem. Right. This is when you're doing it for years and years and you're wondering why. Maybe you're coaching with people who are not connected with you, who don't understand you. That could be an issue. Maybe, you're getting bad advice from people. Maybe you're not going to these conferences. Maybe you're an introvert and you're trying to, I meet there's tons of people who are introverts in our industry. And it's like you have this emotional wall up. And it's like, well, how do I get my emotional wall down? It's like, I'm not a therapist per se, even though my colleague Uncle Roy always says we're all a therapist if we're coaches.
Yeah, even a tech guy.
Yeah,
tech guys.
Even tech people are therapists, exactly. But it's like I send people to somebody to really work with them to getting their wall down. But it's a thing of, you've got to be comfortable in your own skin to do this work. You really need to know who you are. And once you understand the dynamics of who you are and how you tick, you're going to put that towards the copy, whether it's a character or whether it's commercial copy. And once you understand that dynamics, that's what's going to help you book. But if you're sitting here, if you can't make a decision in the grocery store, whether or not you're going to have tuna for dinner or this for dinner, then, and that's a problem going on in your everyday life, then that's going to be a problem in your voiceover career.
We got one last question here. Yeah, we got one last question here from Max Goldberg from YouTube. He says, when receiving an audition script with no specs whatsoever, what ways or steps are there to determine how one should self-direct and then proceed with recording?
I would just I've never heard of anybody not having specs. That's never happened to me in my years. But
I've seen it.
I've never seen that. But I would say if that happened, I would say just bring yourself to it. Whatever the copy is, look at the copy and bring your true, authentic truth to it. And yourself to it.
Yeah.
All righty.
It's probably not a time to throw something crazy against the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
That's
true too. What you're playing, true. And use that as the second take.
Oh, there you go. That's your second take.
That's right.
That's your second take. Good job, George. You've learned. You listened.
I've only heard you say that about 400 times.
So is Patrick Kushner.
This man says names. This man says names on this.
Oh, I'll call you out. You know I'm going to.
Alrighty. Well, Everett, as always, aside from just hanging out with you, it's a pleasure having you on the show and offering your expertise on how to audition better. Again, if people want to work with you, where can they get a hold of you?
EO@voiceactingdirector.com. And voiceactingdirector.com is my website. I won't give up my telephone number because some of them already have my cell phone number.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of people already have it.
Oh, there's a lot of people.
I have it, and when I see it come up, it's Everett.
That's why I'm the only one in America that has a landline too.
Well, Everett, thanks for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And
thanks so much, guys.
Good luck in the future on all that.
Same,
all right.
man. Great to see you.
I will see you soon. All right.
Alrighty.
Take care.
All right. George and I will be right back to wrap things up and re-rack it for Tech Talk right after this, so don't go away.
You're still watching VOBS?
In these modern times, every business needs a website. When you need a website for your voice acting business, there's only one place to go. Like the name says, voiceactorwebsites.com. Their experience in this niche webmaster market gives them the ability to quickly and easily get you from concept to live online in a much shorter time. When you contact voiceactorwebsites.com, their team of experts and designers really get to know you and what your needs are. They work with you to highlight what you do. Then they create an easily navigable website for your potential clients to get the big picture of who you are. and how your voice is the one for them. Plus, VoiceActorWebsites.com has other great resources, like their practice script library and other resources to help your voiceover career flourish. Don't try it yourself. Go with the pros. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
Hi, this is Bill Farmer, and you are watching VoiceOver Body Shop. It's great.
All righty. Well, like I said, Scott Parkin's going to be here in a couple of weeks, which we missed him last time he was here. But
yeah, I know.
Which will be a lot of fun. Not next week, the week after that.
Okay.
And then we have a 2-week, our cycle. We'll have Scott Parkin, and then we'll do Tech Talk again. And then I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks. But I think we're only going to miss like 1 week.
Okay.
Maybe 2.
We're doing our best to not miss it between all the travels, the holidays, everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of weird trying to fit it all together. But anyway, next week on this very show, there will be Tech Talk number 88.
88. It is. It's going to be 88.
88. Yeah. But we're going to record that in just a minute. So stay tuned. If you got tech questions, we want to hear your tech questions.
Yeah.
But we do have people that help us do this show, and that is the donors of the week.
Yes, sir.
And they are Robert Leadham,
Stephen Chandler,
Casey Clack,
Jonathan Grant,
Tom Pinto,
Greg Thomas,
A Doctor Voice,
Antland Productions,
Martha Kahn,
949 Designs.
All right, Jonathan Grant,
Christopher Epperson.
Jonathan Grant's in there twice.
Lucky son of a... Did he make a double donation?
I may have done that.
No, he's just a smart dude. That's why he's in there twice.
All right. Chris Epperson.
Sarah Borges.
Philip Sapir.
Brian Page.
Patty Gibbons.
Rob Ryder.
Shauna Pentington Baird.
Don Griffith.
Trey Mosley.
Dana Birdsall.
Sandra Manwiller.
I love saying all those names. We say them all the time because they're subscribers. They didn't just make a one-time payment. They're subscribing. And you can do that for as little as $1.
That's right.
$1 a month.
Right.
It's all it takes to get your name read every show.
Right. But it's because they're supporting our show.
Yeah.
Because they believe in the great stuff that we do here at VoiceOver Body Shop.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Or they just want to hear their name right at the end of the show.
Which is probably
I
pretty
think
much
that's
what
probably
it is.
what it is, yeah.
All right. We need to thank our sponsors. Harlan Hogan's VoiceOver Essentials.
VoiceOver Extra.
Source Elements.
VOHeroes.com.
VoiceActorWebsites.com.
JMC Demos.
And WorldVoices.org, the Industry Association of Freelance Voice Talent. It just sort of flows off my mind when I say that because...
It should at this point.
By now it should.
It's your job.
Yeah, it's my other job. Anyway, our thanks to Jeff Holman for getting all those questions to us in the chat room tonight. We really appreciate it. His career is just taken off.
So glad to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, he was in that
He's doing a ton of on-camera stuff.
I know. It's great stuff. We got to get him in here so we can hear what he's doing. Sue Merlino. In the studio tonight.
In the flesh.
Actually here tonight. It's about time we're all together. I guess we're going to have to do some drinking after this or something. Anyway, thanks, Sue, for a great job tonight. And, of course, Lee Penny for just being Lee Penny. Anyway, well, that's going to do it for this. Tech Talk is coming up next live, so if you want to ask your questions, now would be a good time to throw it in the chat room because we're going to do all that stuff, and we got some cool stuff to talk about tonight. But in the meantime, this is not an easy business. There's so many things you got to be able to do right. But when it comes down to it, how you audition and your technology and all that stuff, it really comes down to if it sounds good.
It is good.
I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
And this is Voiceover.
Body Shop.
Or VOBS. See you next week. That was exactly an hour.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
On the
dot. Done, folks.
That's how it's done.
So you have to do so that little dance you have to do to get the mic to come on for me didn't happen, huh?
It was. You came in just a second too fast.
Oh, I kind of was like, go, and you were like, ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it, but I just missed the height or whatever.
Just be conscious of that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, they're saying they didn't hear me through the whole spot.
Oh, really?
Wait a minute.
Who said
Oh, wait, it says 555 no sound, 556 last sound, 556 sound on YouTube. Okay, I don't know. There was just several no sounds then.
Yeah, people must just be like waiting for this.
The second I opened my
I'm the director. I'm the one that has to do this.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if it wasn't working through the whole spot. Whatever.
No. It was just very. You came in like.
I jumped the gun.
Probably 2 seconds.
I jumped again.
These people are just like waiting for something to
Take
go
a
wrong.
beat. Take a beat, damn it.
That's right.
I can cue you when the levels are back up.
No worries.
Okay, that helps.
Alrighty.
Okay, so.
Let's go back over here. Yeah, so I got an error message on that upload, just letting you know.
What?
It says the upload is taking too long. This might be a connection issue. This is for the spot you were trying to upload while the show was
okay.
It
All
just says try it at the end.
All
of
right.
the
Well,
show.
I can splice that in there.
Okay.
When I edit this down.
Dan Alperin says my whole spot had no audio.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's try it right now, okay?
All right, let's throw it to me.
Okay, and action.
And I'm on camera and I'm talking. And okay, great. Now I don't hear myself. Okay. For the first 5 seconds, I heard a loop, and then it went away.
Okay.
So hopefully everybody's hearing me on the air. Sue, you hear me in your headphones, right?
Right.
I'm hearing.
Well, you might be hearing me live instead of through the studio.
No.
Oh, that's the problem. We need that mix minus set up.
Toggle that.
It's a little dance. Okay, so when I go to my spot, just give you a good 2 seconds to kind of. I'll listen for you to go click, 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 click a bunch of times, and then I'll know it's time to start talking.
Okay. And take 2.
They can fly it in. They can fly in my second spot. You can fly my second spot in for the first.
Yeah, I can do that.
Or do you want me to do it twice in a row?
No. That'll work. That'll work. Okay. It's time for Tech Talk. Get your tech questions in there.
All right, hold on.
Okay. And we're starting at 6:03.
Yeah, I can't split the screen because it's going to always just be the two of you or just one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, because of the microphone source.
Right.
Gotcha.
No, but I can, so I can add and go single, add and go single.
Yeah.
So just take your time. Just be patient. But when you
So
make
I'll
those
just
changes.
keep it set up like that.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
As long as it's good. If
Okay.
it looks good.
Actually, I think, okay. I'm
all right.
I'm all set. I haven't been in studio, folks.
No, I know. It's we're all trying to make a new thing work here.
Settle down.
3 cameras.
Okay. I think we're good.
Yeah. It was easier when it was all just one thing, but it was complex.
It was easier but harder.
Well, we had to reset the show every time, but I think this is it. I think because I have you all live.
Yeah.
Right.
I just have to shut you all off at everybody.
This is still so preferable to what we used to have to figure out to get to work every week.
Right.
Right.
No,
this is so
this
much
is
better.
this is more like Twisted Wave. You hit
Yeah.
record and go.
Yeah, it's a little bit more straightforward.
All right. I am good
Ready.
to go. We're with the new video animation.
Okay.
This thing's been backing up files to the cloud the whole show. Thankfully, it hasn't. I hope it's not causing any. I didn't even notice. I should quit my O drive so it stops backing up into the cloud.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready when you're.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3.
Hey, it's time for Voiceover Body Shop Tech Talk.
Number 88.
Number 88. Tech Talk number 88. All right, let me do that one again. 88.
That's how I get the 3 right there.
Oh.
I can't do the other kind.
Okay, whatever. 88 Tech Talks. You know, a couple of weeks ago we didn't have one. I'm look, there's like 85 of them you could watch, and the information's all good.
Yeah,
so
most of it's pretty evergreen stuff.
it is. But we got lots of evergreen stuff to mean. You've got some new stuff. I've got some new stuff.
Yeah, the side you talk into the mic hasn't changed.
Not at all.
That's a popular one.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't ask it, but believe me, it comes up.
It does.
Yeah, I have a piece of show and tell here. I'll tell you about a few new things I've got about the Apollo, and I'll mention Clubhouse hack for getting much better audio into Clubhouse for those that still like to use Clubhouse on their phones.
All right.
Yes, we can get better audio.
All right. Get your tech questions in now so George and I can answer them. We love it because this is Voiceover Body Shop Tech Talk right now. Voiceover Body Shop is brought to you by VoiceOverEssentials.com, the home of Harlan Hogan's signature products. Source Elements, the folks who bring you Source Connect, JMC Demos, when quality matters. VOHeroes.com, become a hero to your clients with award-winning voiceover training. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your voice actor website shouldn't be a pain in the butt. VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for voiceover success. And by World Voices, the Industry Association of Freelance Voice Talent. And now, here's your hosts, Dan and George. Hey there, I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
And this is Voiceover
Body Shop.
or VOBS. Tech Talk. Tech Talk.
Tech Talk.
Tech Talk.
Tech Talk.
Tech Talk. All righty. The reason we do Tech Talk is because that's what George and I
That's kind of where it all started.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been about talking tech, but when we talk tech, everybody seems to want to hear what we have to say. So we said, well, why don't we just do a show about Tech Talk? And that's what we do. But the reason that we know so much about it is because George and I have been doing the home voiceover studio tech thing for a long time. I mean, we've been doing this show for 12 years. But we've known each other before that, and we were both doing home studio stuff before that. So probably
over 15 years.
Yeah, so about 30 combined years of knowledge of going into people's closets and examining people's rooms, and
we've been focused on it.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Now, we knew a lot when we started, but imagine how much we've learned in that 15 years of us both doing this. And
peculiarities of small booths.
You wouldn't believe the things that we find. I had one today, but we'll talk about it a little bit later when I'm dealing with noise reduction and stuff. But if you want help with your home studio from people that actually know, because there's no question about it, we end up mopping up after people who, say, I have a friend who's a sound engineer.
Or they said that I should do it this way.
Right.
Or my buddy, the voice actor, says he bought this mic.
And it makes
Should
it
I
sound
get that
great.
mic? Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. And it's all misinformation and disinformation and just outright
Confusion.
ignorance and confusion. So if you want to get help from the people that know what they're doing, you can work with one of us. And if you want to work with George, who has lots of great services and lots of great experience, where do they go?
You head over to georgethe.tech. That's my home on the web, and all the tech support services I offer, from the sound check to studio design to acoustics tune-ups and processing presets and how do you audiobook master. It's all on there in a menu. Look through there. You might find something helpful. And Dan has his place on the web over at
homevoiceoverstudio.com. I think that says it all. Just go on over there. First thing you'll see is my specimen collection cup at the top of the page, which has been running over the last couple of weeks, which is great. People are like, hey,
good, yeah.
What does my audio sound like? You know, I'd like to hear your raw audio, because a lot of times people send, here's how I process my audio. And I'm like, turn all that stuff off. You know, are you booking work with that? Well, I haven't been booking. Well, maybe you should turn some of that stuff off.
Right.
So I want to hear what your audio sounds like. That's going to be a big clue, because in 3 seconds, I can generally tell what's going on in your room, because there's a lot of important things that you should be doing. And you'll send in your audio. I will analyze it, and I will tell you specifically where your shortfalls are. And if it sounds really good, I'm going to go, hey, it is good.
How's the batting average been the last couple of weeks?
As far as
what you get versus what needs a lot of help, what needs versus what needs a lot of help versus what the ones you're like, hey, you're good.
Everybody needs some help.
Yeah,
everybody. Nothing is perfect. No, and of course you can never be perfect. But I will show you how to make it perfecter.
I'd say like 1 in 5. I get 1 in 6 maybe.
Yeah,
where you're just like, you're fine.
Yeah,
you could lower this noise floor a little, or you could do it, but you're good.
Exactly,
You're good.
and I'm the same way. And you're gonna find that, there's always something you can do. A lot of it has to do with technique.
Yeah,
it does not have a lot to do.
Technique.
Mic technique is very, very important. As I sit here practicing perfect mic technique.
Yeah, well, I'm doing the shotgun mic technique,
and I'm doing the studio condenser mic technique.
Right.
There's a reason we do it this way, so you can see how it's supposed to be done.
See, there you go.
Which is why our podcast sounds like a podcast is supposed to sound, as opposed to some of the podcasts that
are video shows that turn into podcasts.
Right. Or our podcast done over a dining room table in a large room.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
I can't, and they're 20 miles from the mic and stuff like that. Perhaps we need to do a tech show about podcasts. We'll do a podcast about podcasts.
If it comes up, yeah.
How many podcasts are there about podcasts, though?
A lot.
Anyway, so starting off with our tech report of the week, George, what do you got?
Oh, not a whole heck of a lot, but I'll start with a little show and tell.
Okay.
This is coming from a brand that you'll never see us talk about on the show, and I never have on the show.
Sterling. Isn't that like the brand name from Banjo Emporium?
We just discovered static electricity.
Hopefully didn't shut off the computers and
poor
everything.
Jacob just grabbed the doorknob and you got a heck of a spark. This is the Sterling Audio Harmony H224 24-bit 192 kilohertz audio interface. Why did I get this? Is this camera featured now?
Yeah.
Sweet. Why the heck did I get this thing? Well, I was at a Guitar Center to buy something much bigger, more expensive, a mixer for a client. And I always look to see what's in the case because things like this don't really come up on my radar unless you physically, or if you don't shop at Guitar Center, you won't find it, right? This is a house brand thing. Why did I like this thing? And I'll unbox it while I tell you. The first thing that caught my eye was just the industrial design of it. It just seemed like really a nice design. You know what I mean? Like,
keep it simple so you know how it operates.
Yeah, they got away from putting all the knobs on the front, right? They're on the top, right? So easy to see on your desktop where it's going to be. They provide for you, obviously, the usual 2 microphones with 2 mic gains. And they give you a really nice big knob here, a little reminiscent of the Apollo. Let's admit that,
That's
right?
okay.
But that they give you a knob that it works a little bit like that. So this knob is either headphone level or monitors level, right? It does both. Or you can switch between the two and decide which one you're controlling. So that's nice design right there. But it still gives you proper physical gain knobs. Next thing is you don't really ever use these in VoiceOver, but it does have pads. Pretty unusual for an audio interface of this price. I think it's around 150. Well, I paid for it out of my pocket. It was 150 bucks. But it's got pads on each channel, and the thing that really I thought was even more cool, it has high pass filters on each channel. There's
very nice.
nothing at this price point that I'm aware of that has high pass filters, right? Then it also has monitor control, so you can adjust whether you're monitoring at all. If you don't use headphones, you don't need it, or you can monitor mono or stereo. This is just like the Scarlett stuff does now. And a surprise, it actually has, interestingly, 2 headphone jacks. It has one on the front right here, and then you can set up another headphone mix at the rear because it has 2 sets of headphone. It has 2 sets of line outs, monitor outputs on the back. So a surprising amount of features for something at this price point. It has physical switches on the rear to switch between mic and line input, which if you want to use an outboard mic preamp with it, it seems like that will work better. And interestingly, it has MIDI. Not many people out there need MIDI, not many VoiceOver, but it's there in case you want to, noodle away with a MIDI keyboard between sessions. So really impressive. Now, you're all wondering, well, how's it sound? I don't know yet. I literally just unboxed it on the show. So I'm going to do some tests with it, plug it in, do some recordings. But I am sure that unless they severely botched this thing, which I seriously doubt because Guitar Center knows what they're doing, I think it's going to sound just as good as all the other USB interfaces out there with similar specs. I'm not Julian Krause. If you know who he is, look him up on YouTube. That guy does the most elaborate videos, most elaborate tech reviews of audio interfaces you've ever seen. It's really geeky. But anyway, I'm not him. I'm not going to analyze it like that. I'm just going to plug it in and use it sometime and see how it sounds. But anyway, that's something new on the radar.
It's got meters on it and everything.
Yeah, take it. I mean, it just
that's
feels,
a hefty piece of equipment.
It just feels
not
like
go flying off your desk.
No, it's even got like a really nice big huge rubber foot.
Yeah,
so it's
really.
not going to slide around when you plug things into it. You know what I mean? I gotta give Guitar Center props. I think it's really nicely designed and built piece of gear. So next up is to actually try it out. So that's one thing. I came up with a new Apollo hack. Universal Audio Apollo interface that makes it work the way it's supposed to work with Zoom, the way I could never get it to work with Zoom, the way the way they're always telling you, install loopback to make this thing work with Zoom, right? It was always a hack. Well, I finally figured out a good hack for it, and rather than keeping it a secret,
go for it.
I put it right up on the UAD Forums website. So there is a UAD Forums, and they finally, Matt, the head forum czar, whatever what his name is.
That's a good word.
The main admin over there.
The head honcho.
He finally was able to make me make us really our own sub forum for VoiceOver. So if you are an Apollo user and you want to see where I'm going to be hanging out now and answering questions, it's over there at UAD Forums, uadforums.com. And look for the VoiceOver one. It's VoiceOver podcasting and live streaming. That's the category. And I've posted a screenshot of exactly all the settings and how to use it. So what I want you to do, this is your homework if you have an Apollo, is to give it a try. Do what I said, try it out, test it in your setup, and tell me, does it work for you? Or does something not work that I didn't think to test? Or just works fine for me and not for you. So please do use that forum, ask questions, interact. I'm not putting any more time into my Facebook group. I want this to be in a more publicly searchable, not owned by Facebook property. So the forum is not owned by Universal Audio, to be clear. It kind of looks like it because of the branding on it. It's all sponsored by Universal, but it is still an independent entity. So you can go on there and ask and talk about whatever you like as long as it's on topic. So that's that. So that whole new way of using the Apollo that I feel like is a eureka moment after using one for 10 or 11 years, almost as long as Dan and I have been doing this show, I feel like I figured it out. I feel like I cracked the code. It sounds crazy, but I feel like I cracked the code. Yeah. So anyway, give it a shot. Lastly, I just want to mention Clubhouse. Now, Dan, do you find that you're still wanting to check out what's happening over on the Clubhouse app, or has it kind of fallen off your radar?
Only if I'm asked to be on it.
If you're invited to be on a show like
Right.
Jody Krangle's Power of Sound.
Right. We've been doing that like the last 3 months, and that's fun.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you and I tend to dominate it. The other guys are like,
Yeah, I told Jody, I was like, I apologize. We host shows. It's natural.
That's right.
We
This
know
is
how to
what we
fill
do.
time. But anyway, Clubhouse, if you're not aware of what it is at this point, which many of you may not be, it's its own social media that's audio based. Essentially, they've added in a thing called a back channel, which actually is sort of a chat, but it's really all about audio. And it's like people are hosting radio shows, call-in shows, where literally anybody can call in. Right. Anybody can be a host, and anybody can run one. And so it's extremely democratic. As of for now, there are no advertising, which worries me. I don't know how this company's going to stay in business. But it's really a fantastic thing. I have been tuned into it a lot when I have downtime to listen to people talk about what's going on over in Iran, the whole hashtag Masa Amini movement that's going on over there. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but there's been a nonstop discussion on there live of people hosting and taking questions and talking for about 7 or 8 days, like just nonstop. It's quite amazing. Anyway, so that's what Clubhouse is. I'm starting to do one as well. I'm going to call it the Ask Me Anything. Once a month. It's going to be the last Tuesday of the month at 3 p.m. That's the planned date and time. Anyway, so that's all about Clubhouse. But a lot of folks want to get better audio into Clubhouse. I mean, yeah, you can just use an iPhone. You can just use AirPods. And it works. And it's great. Like you can go, I literally went from driving in the car from a client with AirPods, walked in my house, sat down, and just kept on going. And it was basically seamless, right? But yes, you can use Clubhouse with pro audio gear. There's just a few little tricks, and I'll leave one solid one, and I'll tell you where to see more.
good, because I need to know this, because I have to keep doing it on my phone.
Yeah, so the annoying thing is iPhone and the way Apple designs it, and Byron Wagner did an extremely thorough job of explaining this, so I'm just copying what he said. The problem is that the anything that's hands-free mode, like anything that's for conversation, phone calls, Clubhouse, Zooms, anything where it's communication-based, not listening to music, the phone switches modes into hands-free mode, essentially. Not every device can be detected as a hands-free device. That's the problem, right? So the trick is, what Byron said is you need to find devices and adapters that have MFI as part of the naming on the box or branding, which really means made for iPhone or iPad or made for iOS, basically MFI. You need to have that compatibility in the product. Even if the product still records and works, if you don't see that logo, it may not work as a hands-free device. That's one thing. 2, the universal adapter that will guarantee to get audio in and out is those little tiny headphone dongle-y things that iPhone gave you the first year they took away the headphone jack. They gave you these little adapters, right?
They didn't give them to you. You had to go and buy them.
Not even the very first generation, they didn't give it to you?
I know. My wife is like, hey, I can't listen. I can't charge my phone and listen to it at the same time.
Well, that's true. That is
so
annoying.
you had to have that little dongle to do that.
So anyway, they still sell them for $10. Now you can get a better quality one, but anyway, what it does now is basically it gives you your headset jack back. Once you have that headset jack, all you have to do is have the right cables and adapters to get audio in and out of that little jack. And it's called a TRRS connector, tip, ring, sleeve. So there's a lot more to it. I don't want to take away too much time from the show. I suggest you jump over to my Instagram, George the Tech, and watch the video I posted on Friday. And I did a show and tell of several different methods you can use. A Centrance Portcaster, for example, for the premium experience. A Rodecaster Pro, which has a TRRS jack on it. The iRig. Kind of went through a range of different adapters and and techniques that you can use. But
I'll try to remember that next month when we're on with Jody. And
yeah, I've been putting more and more on Instagram. Gets a little more engagement. It's a little more gets people commenting, and I would have shown it on the show. It's vertical. It would have looked really dumb on YouTube. It's a vertical format, but you can go check it out and get some more detail about how that all might work for you.
Great. Super.
Awesome. That does it for me. Now we're going to talk noise reduction.
Yeah, because I got an email this morning from somebody who says, I'm brand new at VoiceOver, but I have tried everything. I live in a 500 square foot apartment, and there's an air conditioner I have no control over. It's noisy. There are other noises in there, and I've gone into a closet. It still isn't very good.
Yeah.
What do I do? And I'm like, well, you have essentially 2, maybe 3 options. Number 1, you live where you choose to live. You can move.
Yeah, nobody likes to hear that one. But...
No, nobody likes to hear, I like where I live. Well, if you want to be a voice actor, if you're in the landing path of Bob Hope Airport, that's a problem.
The recording studios here in Studio City didn't choose to put Bob Hope Airport there.
No, they did not. No, they went there. But they also have very expensive studios that are floated.
Million plus multi-million builds.
Almost $1 million, I'm sure, to make them the way they sound.
Ben Pronsky's garage, that was not $1 million project,
but it was
it was way over 100,000. I can tell you that.
Watch that episode. That was very revealing. That's what it takes to get quiet. But he was trying. I think the mistake is always looking at, I can put up blankets. I can put up foam. It's soundproofing blankets and foam.
Right. That's how it's branded on eBay and Amazon.
Yeah, and they are not soundproofing blankets. They are sound absorption and diffusion devices that prevent reflection. I think we say this like every week.
Sure, but it bears repeating.
The soundproofing and sound treatment are not the same. They are completely different concepts, but you got to have both.
Yeah.
One of the things he said, I tried a Chaotica eyeball. Not that I want to promote the Chaotica eyeball, because I don't. It sucks. They can sue me. It just doesn't work. It's not designed for voiceover. If you want a Chaotica eyeball, because I think they gave more away than they did, than actually sold them. Although some people bought them. Great for volleyball at a voiceover conference, but not for doing it. And then Uncle Roy was like, well, if you shove bagels in it, that helps a whole lot too. First it was, sweat socks. Then it was like, well, let's try bagels. Bagels, I guess they worked a little bit better.
Diffusers.
But none of these things prevent noise from the outside from reaching Mr. Microphone. And therefore, or Mrs. Microphone, or Ms. Microphone. I don't want to be sexist about it.
That's right.
But look, you could move, you could build something, but you have to use the right materials. You have to use good construction technique. And chances are, since you don't understand what it is that prevents sound, you're in big doo-doo anyway. So the last thing is noise reduction strategies.
Right.
Most programs have
digital
noise reduction. I end up doing this a lot with podcasts because people have no idea what they're doing. Podcasts. It's a matter of simply, can you remove the sound of a fire engine? And police cars going by and the traffic on Fifth Avenue because I live in a midtown. I'm like, you don't do that. But if you do, they send the stuff to me and I got to clean it up. And it takes a lot of time and effort. You have to know how to use these noise reduction things. Now, in Twisted Wave,
you also need to be able to hear the destruction that they cause when used incorrectly, right?
Right. They have to be set perfectly and you have to have a noise floor. We set that standard of at least below minus 55 to minus 60 to make something seamless in the way you use noise reduction. I've seen a lot of people using noise gates lately. And, early on we would say, use a noise gate, but it has to be seamless. Using
transparent.
Right. If you use the thing like in Twisted Wave or in Adobe Audition or even Audacity has this now, they're better than they used to be.
You mean the noise reduction? The thing where you highlight...
you highlight, you
room
create
tone. A noise print.
A noise profile.
Right, profile, yeah.
And then apply it to the entire file.
Yep.
It does a pretty good job, but if you're auditioning for a commercial, there ain't a producer out there that wants to hear any of that stuff.
And they know what it sounds like.
Like
unless
absolutely.
you use a very 5% reduction, they're gonna hear it. They know
exactly.
Yeah.
So move. Find a better place to live.
Move or get a loan.
Or get a loan and build a... The thing is you don't get a booth if you're just starting out.
Yeah.
And if you're just starting out and you're in a noisy place, I also suggested perhaps you have some voiceover friends nearby who have a better facility.
Yeah.
And perhaps you could borrow that until you make some money and then you can move.
Listen, here's the thing, guys. I just acquired a voiceover booth of my own. I know it sounds crazy, but
And
I
your
just
address
now
is?
finally have one. And I'm not telling you where I live. And my daughter, I've always thought, maybe I should get my kid into voiceover, right? Duh, right?
Yeah, have her pay for that,
But it wasn't until I had the proper space to do it, a booth in my apartment, in my office, that I had that confidence that I can put her in there, put the mic up. Of course, I know what I'm doing. It's my job, right? But I didn't have the confidence in getting great sounding audio consistently until I had that in my studio. I made that investment and put it in there. And the better you are in voiceover, or the more, let's just say, the more in demand you are, the more you can get away with things. So the more famous you are, or the more high up the food chain you are, you can get away with a lot, right?
Right.
But when you're trying to get started, they're judging you about sound quality. The first 2 seconds of the audio, before they even judge your acting, is how do you actually sound?
You don't want the quality of your sound to distract from your performance.
Yeah, you don't want that to be the reason that you don't get hired.
Right.
Weed it out for sound quality. Ugh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I could demonstrate some of this stuff, but just go through the menus and try it out and see if that works.
And listen. Use headphones, good headphones. Listen to the dry audio. Listen to the processed audio. Listen to what was there before or what's gone now.
Exactly.
And if it ain't just the noise, but it's also some of the frequencies of your voice, or you sound slightly robotic or unnatural, go back and try again. Undo and
turn it down.
Undo and test again.
Wet, dry. That's
if it's got a blend control, or if it's got a percentage or anything, go lower. Even try a second pass. I've heard that can work well.
I've done
less, but double it up. So use your ears.
Sometimes 3 times.
Use your ears, everybody.
Once you compress it, and all those sorts of things. Well, now the noise is louder. Well, now I got to take that out. Just record it right the first place. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and we got a pile of questions that we want to answer, so it's time for a lightning round. So we'll be right back here on VoiceOver Body Shop Tech Talk. Don't go away.
This is Ariana Ratner, and you're enjoying VoiceOver Body Shop with Dan Leonard and George Whittam. VOBS.TV.
Headphones for voiceover? Why not get the headphones made for voiceover? That's why I use Harlan Hogan's Signature Series Voice Optimized Headphones 2.0 from VoiceOverEssentials.com. Harlan's cans are incredibly strong and lightweight. At only 8.4 ounces, the combination's straight coiled audio cable stretches from 5 to 10 feet. It comes with 2 gold-plated mini plugs and a studio standard 1/4-inch screw-on adapter, and includes the new mini jack on the left headphone for easy cord replacement. The studio monitoring headphones are optimized for voice work. Now even better, the Harlan Hogan Signature Series VoiceOver Headphones 2.0. And for a limited time, when you buy the headphones, you'll also get a free autographed copy of Harlan's best-selling book, VO, Tales and Techniques of a Voiceover Actor, 2nd edition. It's full of stories from the trenches and insights about making the most of your voiceover career. Go on over to VoiceOver Essentials right now and order yours.
It's that time on the show where we thank Source Elements, the creators of Source Connect, the most predominantly widely used remote recording tool in the voiceover business, completely has taken over for ISDN. If you don't know what ISDN is, don't worry about it. But
it's gone.
It's gone. But ISDN was how studios tended to connect to their best and most well-loved and highest paid clients because it was easy for them to get great audio. Now with Source Connect, it's even easier for producers to get great audio straight into Pro Tools, which is what they're going to be using most of the time probably at the studio. The workflow is efficient, and that is why they love it. So you want to have this tool in your toolbox. You want to be proficient. You might even consider paying them, I think it's $75 for the certification, which isn't just like paying for a little badge. They actually teach you stuff. They will actually go through your system. They will make sure your system is set up properly. They will, if there's some issues with the sound, they actually will give you some advice to make it better. It's a very worthwhile expense to make sure that your quality is where it should be for Source Connect. So just another way they provide great service. So you can go over to source-elements.com, get yourself a demo, poke around, watch the videos, spend some time, and then when you're ready, subscribe or pay for your license outright and own it for life. You can do that right over at source-elements.com. We'll be right back.
Well, hello there. I bet you weren't expecting to hear some big-voiced announcer guy on your new orientation training for Snapchat, were you?
This is Virgin Radio. Well, okay, we're not that innocent.
There's jeans for wearing and there's jeans for working. Dickies, 'cause I ain't here to look pretty.
She's a champion of progressive values, a leader for California, and a voice for America.
It's smart. It's a phone. It's a smartphone. But it's so much more. The files are ready. Don't forget to pick up the eggs. What time is hockey practice? Check out this song.
It's the end of the road for Rick. It's you and me, Rick. When hope is lost.
The i8 from BMW. Who said saving the planet couldn't be stylish?
Hey, it's J. Michael Collins. Bet you think I'm going to try and sell you a demo now, huh? I think they speak for themselves. But I will give you my email. It's jmichael@jmcvoiceover.com. Now, if Dan will stop waxing his mustache for a minute, we'll get back to the show.
Before time began, there was VOBS.TV. Watch or else.
Well, now I'm totally intimidated. Anyway, we have a pile of really good questions here.
Mm-hmm.
We live for this. Every 2 weeks, we get together just to answer these questions. So let's get to work on them.
Let's get to it.
And our first question is from our actual chat room monitor, who always has good questions, because which is why he hangs out with us, because he figures by osmosis he's going to learn all this stuff.
And he's got control, baby. So he put it at the
He
top
got
in bold.
Bold types. Is what is the best position for a shotgun mic to reduce mouth noise? What are the 3 best positions for a shotgun mic? Your shotgun mic. Yours right here. That's actually my shotgun mic, because this is my studio, and that's my 416. And
Yeah.
He didn't bring his. George looks to be at a much deeper angle than in your home studio, and in front of you rather than coming from the side. Well, this is how George and I use a 416. That's the proper way. Describe how you do this so there's no mouth noise or mic pops or anything
I think
like
it
that.
reduces. Well, pops are no problem because the pops go straight or kind of go down. So you're not going to pop the mic like this. In terms of distance from the mic, Dan and I are getting to work longer distances like you would have more like in a pro commercial studio for a good reason. Dan's got a 10-foot vaulted ceiling in here, right?
Right.
We have a large, high ceiling above us. It's highly treated with acoustical clouds. And we're seated, so we're not even close to the ceiling. That allows me to have the mic way up here, which looks a lot better on camera, right?
Which is what it's designed for, by the way.
Yeah, it's an on-camera mic. You want to get warmer, then you can choke up on the mic, and it's going to get a bit warmer and more present sounding. But we don't need to here too much. That could almost be too much. So, so in terms of its position, its angle is... it's 60 degrees maybe. It's a pretty steep angle. But I also did this because I wanted to be able to move around a little bit more. When you're doing VO, you're kind of locked on your script. And here I'm like looking at this camera, I'm looking at my laptop, I'm looking at Dan, so I'm moving all over the place. So I'm choosing a little bit steeper angle. That prevents me from moving off mic too much. That's you're wondering why I'm doing it that way. That's why. And you mentioned what are 3 best positions for a shotgun mic? Well, I guess this is number 1. Number 2 might be if you're in a small space and you want the camera, you still have a webcam and you don't want the mic blocking the camera, then maybe more like over here. Similar thing coming at you from 45 to the horizontal, 45 to the, what axis is that?
Left or right?
To the left or right is another good position. A third position, I don't know. I guess if you want to sound announcery, maybe you come more directly
Direct
in.
on and you use a pop screen.
Yeah, maybe you get it in tighter, and to get that really announcer voice of authority, whatever kind of sound.
Right. Yeah, it's a great versatile mic because one, it has great side rejection and a very narrow pickup pattern, which can save you if you're in a marginal place, and instead of moving, get a 416, which is about 2 months' rent. Or in LA, a half your rent.
Yes, that's about right. A third.
Yeah, but the thing is if you're doing like promo type stuff, jocks discovered, hey, you can talk straight into it, and it makes you sound really great.
Yeah, you still never really want to do right at the microphone because that will magnify mouth noise and make plosives a nightmare.
Right. And then of course it has that foam sleeve that you can put on it, which is essentially for outside.
It's really meant to be used and reduce it. Another reason those windscreens are used is for boom operating. When they actually swing the boom from actor to actor, they need that on there so you don't literally hear as they swing the boom around.
And they've got these covers. One looks like a blimp, and then one they call a cat.
They call it a dead cat.
Oh, a dead cat.
That's what it's called.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, cats. We love cats.
Tom Machin has a question. Go for it.
All right. Considering it is a business, where do you place your very limited energies for an audition when you're ill and have no energy? This is especially important when your agent says you're in the top 2 already. This may have been directed to
our guest last week,
but
Everett
you can
Oliver.
certainly speak to this.
Yeah. Where do you place your very limited energies for an audition when you are ill or have no energy?
Oof.
I've done it.
Well, I think any pro does it at some point.
Right. I mean, heck, I had COVID, but I was able to, you learn to control your voice and you know what your limitations are.
And use it as little as you can,
and you
too,
use
right?
it as little as possible. Fortunately, when I got it, it was just, in my septum, and, it made me a little more raspy, but it didn't get into my vocal cords. If it gets into your vocal cords, you really are out of business.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people that can, that can pull it off, but generally, if it gets into your vocal cords and you start getting swollen vocal cords, you can't reproduce that later on as an audition. So, if you're doing audiobooks, gotta wait till you're better. You can't do it differently. So I would highly suggest if you're sick and it gets into your vocal cords, it's like, you'll have to excuse me for a bit. It's in my vocal cords.
Yeah.
And you do not want to hear me like this.
Yeah.
And you just have to be honest about it. And if you get sick, people need to get past the idea of, well, if I can't do it, somebody else is going to do it, and they're always going to get the job, and I'm out. You can't think like that.
Yeah.
Everybody gets sick. Therefore, just learn to relax about it and not fret about it. You're sick. You're off. You're on vacation from doing.
You're getting a forced vacation. You're getting forced vocal rest.
Right. Okay. Terry Briscoe asks, is there a way to make my basement ceiling more sound deafening without tearing out the drywall? Sound deafening. Oh, so preventing sound from getting through.
Let's assume it means deadening.
Deadening. All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
That's
All
what
right.
I think so.
All right.
How do you get rid of sound deadening? So when you're in the basement, what do you hear in the basement from
The
upstairs?
furnace, toilets flushing.
Yeah.
Every all the mechanicals are down there.
Well, what do you hear upstairs?
Footsteps.
Right. Footsteps. Footfall.
Especially people wearing Bistad clogs and stuff like that.
Okay.
You remember Bistad clogs.
Yes, I don't. But I can imagine. Even regular shoes sound pretty bad through a floor. I hate to tell you, Terry, that is definitely one of the most expensive and challenging things to eliminate is footfall noise from upstairs. It's quite difficult, and it requires absolutely tearing out the drywall. I hate to tell you.
And putting in what?
In putting in a whole plethora of things. Layers of insulation with MLV, and then another layer of MLV and mass-loaded vinyl. Sorry, I'm using too much jargon. Mass-loaded vinyl, and then some ISO, and then you tape that off and make it airtight, so you have an airtight membrane, and then you add some isolation clips, and then you put in your hat channel, and then you put on a layer of drywall, and then you put on another layer of drywall, and when you do all that right, you will get rid of it mostly.
Or you move.
or
move it to a
or
different
you move,
place
or
in the
you
basement.
or you go to a different part of the house, different
Right.
part of the basement, right? I have a client who's moving to a new home. It's a big rancher with a huge basement.
Oh, fabulous.
And he was like, I want to be here. And I said, well, what's right above you if you're here? And he's like, oh, that's the master bathroom upstairs. I'm like, okay, that could be a little bit noisy at times. How about if you're over that corner way over there? Oh, I didn't think of that. Well, what's under that corner? That's the master bedroom. It's going to be pretty quiet when you're in your studio.
That's carpeting and all
Right?
that.
There's not going to be much going on up there.
Right.
So, yeah, so that's the kind of things you think about when you're, but yeah, tearing out the drywall, I hate to tell you, that is definitely part of the plan if you got severe upstairs noise.
All right. All right. This next question is a question for George, because I could care less. Because I can hear the difference, but I don't think there's a difference.
Well, I'll tell you what the difference is.
Okay,
I'll
but
just-
let's ask
yeah.
the question here.
Okay.
Grace at Newton asks, what is the difference between the Bear Dynamic DT990 Pro
Mm-hmm.
and the DT770 Pro headphones? Why would there be a 20-point difference between the two?
Yeah, right. Or the difference is the design. One is what's called a closed back headphone. That's the 770, and those happen to be one of my favorites, and I've been using them for 25 years almost. And then the 990 is what's called an open back headphone. And you might look at the two next to each other in pictures and go, wait a minute, they look almost the same. But the 770 has a hard plastic shell on the back. The 990 actually has like a vents, there's venting or screen
Right.
that the sound can pass through. And those that prefer open back find that they feel that they're more natural sounding or more real sounding. But the downside is that the sound does actually leak out. Right. So you don't want to use them for voiceover directed sessions, like if you're doing source connects and things like this.
Right.
That would be bad because they'll actually hear them talking to you and playing themselves, and they'll hear that leaking out and going right back into the microphone. So that's bad. But for just monitoring, listening, playing back, or just enjoying great sounding classical music, the open back is a more theoretically accurate sound. I'm very used to closed back. I've grown used to them. That's all I've used because that's all it's been really practical. And here's a couple options. Here's the Harlan Hogan headphones are closed back.
Right. And they sound great.
For good reason.
And they're very flat, which means, they're not the response that you
designed
get
to be
from them-
hyped or bass heavy
Right.
or whatever.
It's what you sound like,
Yeah,
which
these
is
are
really why you want those.
Audio Technica these are the 40s, H40s, and they are very similar in terms of not hyped up too much in any one frequency. But that is the difference.
All righty. Terry Briscoe asks, what are your thoughts on the Deity S Mic 2?
I don't have any yet because I haven't used it. The
haven't
guy that
either.
runs that company is a unique gentleman. I met him at a podcast convention. He's the CEO, the designer of the mics. He does all of his own YouTube videos. He's an enthusiastic fella, knowledgeable, and makes a very affordable product. But I haven't been able to do real world tests where I compare these with other tools. So I don't want to answer without having tried the mic myself.
Didn't we test one once?
I feel like we did.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and that's one of the earlier episodes. But second part of the question, and it seems to be a non sequitur question, because if you're using proper mic technique, do you need a high pass filter? Well, one doesn't have to generally do with the other.
Yeah, well, yeah. Some people use a high pass filter to reduce the pickup of plosives,
Right.
which is fixed with better mic technique, I guess.
Right.
But the main reason we use high pass filter is so the mic doesn't pick up all that
rumbling,
rumbling,
which is
blah, 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 blah.
in your house, in your apartment,
It's in your environment.
It's always there. And if it's below the frequency of your voice, then you can use a high pass filter. You know,
It's the residual radiation from the Big Bang.
Is that what it is?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's just always there and you can't stop it. Let's just put it that way. It's just always there. So that's
been
why
there for billions and billions of years.
Yeah, so mic technique is part of the equation, but really it's not about mic technique. It's just correcting that background noise, low frequency noise level stuff.
Okay, you get the question from John O'Rourke.
Okay, when you have a booth made of PVC and studio blankets, is it still a good idea to add more absorption panels? And if so, how would you do it?
Well, it depends.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the quality and the type of studio blankets you're using. Some of them may be a little more reflective than others. Some of them are very thin, so they don't do a great job on their own. The producer's choice blankets and the blankets that we happen to use for Tribooth, the Tribooth studios are very, very absorbing and very dense. So we don't need to add anything. But yeah, you may find that in your case, adding a good quality absorber over top, like a Orlex foam panel or something like that, will increase the result, or increase the overall sound result from the recording.
And the thing is, if you have a booth like that and you want to know if it's enough, send us a sample.
Yeah, get a sound check.
Do a sound check with George, do my specimen collection cup. Let us listen because we know what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah, that's how you're going to know. Because if you don't know, then you don't know enough about your own sound to make that judgment. You need someone else to help you do that. And that's what we do.
That's what we do. Okay. Have we tested the Logitech Blue Sona? Thomas Evinger asks that.
Nope.
I think you
Brand new.
mentioned it once. It's like a joint project between Logitech, webcams and Blue microphones.
Yeah, apparently the joint part is Logitech bought Blue.
That would explain it.
So
I knew it was in
that's
my
what I
head
heard
somewhere.
Yeah, I just heard that. I checked it out. They've sprayed them across the YouTuberverse, so there's a bunch of YouTubers using them already, and it sounds pretty darn good. It's a dynamic mic that has phantom power. That's its little thing. It looks cool, it looks cute. Kind of looks like a very space-aged version of an SM7B. It has a big yoke that it hangs from, and you can twist it, or you can aim it. I don't remember more distinctive details about it, but I haven't tried it. And the whole idea about it being a dynamic mic is it's designed for more of a broadcast podcast situation.
Right.
So it was intended to be used right up like this to get that broadcast sound. But it's dynamic, so it's not as sibilant and mouth noise sensitive as a microphone like this.
Yes. And our guest tonight we're going to be talking with,
you can hear aesthetically the difference, right?
And that's
eating the mic versus getting a natural sound.
Yeah. Don't eat the mic unless the specs say eat the mic. And I've never seen that.
We'll maybe one of them will end up coming across our desks one of these days.
Now, here's an interesting question from Jonathan Grant. He says, heads up and a repetitive problem. Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 with a Mac. Okay. When the system sleeps, the 2i2 receives lower power.
That's right.
With only the 48-volt light lit. All right, so the phantom power is on. System wakes and the power levels are restored and all selected lights are lit. Okay. However, the buttons on the 2i2 are unresponsive and noise is introduced into the recording. Unplug and reset the 2i2 and the problem is solved. Problem solved. Oh, there's more. Only solution is to allow the monitor to sleep, but not the Mac. It sucks, and I want to upgrade. But to what? SSL2?
I don't know if that problem will go away with the SSL2, but I haven't tested it.
I
yet
have not either.
You know the reason why I haven't tested it? Because I tell literally every single voiceover actor who is listening to me to disable sleep. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the case. Anything that's USB powered suffers a similar fate. the voltage drops, or not probably the voltage, maybe the amperage, current drops going out to the device, and the device goes and it freaks out for a while, and then when power comes back, it goes bananas. So I don't know if the SSL2 would be affected by that fate or not. I haven't played with it, but yeah, this has been a problem as long as USB audio devices have existed. Sleep causes lots of trouble. So yeah, just sleep your displays. If you're on a Mac, if you're really about being conservative on your power usage and you have an M1 or any of the new Silicon Mac, don't even worry about it. Those computers, when they're working their damnedest, use 10 watts. Right. 10 watts. My Mac Mini at full blast is 10 watts. Right?
And of course, you could always turn your computer off.
Yes, you could turn your computer
which will totally reset everything.
Yeah, I never do that.
I never do either.
I leave it on all the time.
My Mac Mini's been on for since I bought it.
When things go weird, we restart our computers, right? But no, I tend to leave it on because I want to sit down and be right at work. I'm impatient, and I walk in, sit down, and I want it to be ready. Yeah, I just don't sleep. And if you do get an SSL2, which you should just get one anyway because it's just better than the Scarlet, let us know.
Yeah, I had a situation with an SSL2 last week. A young lady wires had been drawn underneath the floorboards. Ooh. And, she went from a Shure, SMU to whatever that thing was, and got an SSL2, went through 2 hubs, and then was wondering why it was skipping.
Oh, yeah.
Why were we getting dropouts?
The more it's extended and goes through hubs, the more.
You need it. The SSL2 runs off a USB-C, double male connection, and that's what you got to use.
And you can't go terribly far, maybe 10 feet.
Well, we found a cable that was 20 feet, and once we plugged that in, that worked great.
Oh, good.
But we couldn't get it under the floor, and she didn't want it going under the rug and up. So what we did is we got a line with an adapter that ran about 50 feet. Still worked.
A line with an adapter.
Yeah. So apparently there's enough juice that runs through the 5 watts that thing will send out over USB-C, and it powered the SSL2.
So it's an extender with a power supply. We call it an active extender, I guess.
Right, but it wasn't. The only power was coming from the computer.
No kidding. So it was an active extender that didn't require an external power supply. Right. Jeez, it's like getting power from nowhere.
I know.
That's amazing technology.
But it worked. So
awesome.
I'm a genius. I just got to make it longer. I'm like, how am I going to solve this? Well, let's try this. It works. Fabulous.
Now we got to go into lightning round.
Are there more questions? Oh,
3
good.
more.
3
I'll
more.
do the Rich and you do the Dave. And then
okay. Well, Rich is just like praising us and bowing down.
Thank you, Rich. I got to meet Rich in person at the Bikerwave, my bike co-op last week when he was visiting with his daughter. It was a brief meeting. It was very quick, but I got to see him, which was really awesome. It was nice seeing you in 3D, Rich. Yes. Dave says,
hey, George, and me, because I got opinions on this too. Can you comment again on the SM7B and VO? Saw a discussion in another venue, and some were swearing by it. I bit my tongue. I usually swear at it.
I just got done talking about this.
Okay. I've been using an NT1 for an audiobook. After about 15 minutes, the noise appears. The king of rumble, or lifting noise floor from -68 to -55. Is the capsule going bad? Well, we'll take the first part.
Okay.
The SM7B.
No, I'm going to repeat what I just said.
Go for it.
It's a voice. It's a podcasting mic.
Right.
It's designed for a different aesthetic, audio aesthetic.
Right.
Is there a word for that?
Yes.
It's just a different aesthetic.
Right. Well, and
it's for broadcast sound.
Right. And the reason that they use them in broadcast studios is because broadcast studios generally suck acoustically.
They used to be really awful, pretty much, and they wanted the jocks and the talent to just shove it in front of their face and eat the mic, and pretty much that was how they used those microphones.
But that's not voiceover because we don't talk to people an inch from their eardrum.
No, we don't.
It doesn't sound natural, which is why we do. I've come down to the 3 things: fist, thumbs up, and mahalo.
Right. One of these three is the distance from the mic.
So you practice those and maintain that once you find the sweet spot with your microphone.
Yeah.
But the SM7B, a lot of singers are using it because it can handle a lot of SPL.
Huge SPL. You can
sound pressure levels for those of you not good on acronyms.
Yeah.
They're designed for loudness.
Yeah.
And therefore, if someone is singing, you don't have to add as much gain to it.
Right.
Which allows for, not having as much background noise or electronically induced background noise.
Now, the noise issue with the NT1, I don't know what's going on. I've never heard of an NT1 getting noisy after 15 minutes.
It's an incredibly quiet mic.
So check your interface first, because if you're an Apollo, this is actually notorious for this. But yeah, I'm not aware of that one. So switch your interface first. If it still happens, then it's the mic.
Or change
if it's the mic. Yeah, then change all the cheap stuff first. Then
change.
And then if you've narrowed it down to the mic, then send it back to Rode and let them replace it, because they're really awesome at supporting their stuff.
All right. Here's a great question, because I've done this one, and you probably are going to do it in your new studio bricks. What's the best way to illuminate one's booth? I hung my cloud, which I told her to do, and which covers the overhead light in the WIC.
Tends to do that, doesn't it?
Right. One of the things you can do, now I could demonstrate here, but then you'll be into the bright studio lights we have in here. But I got some LED lights and I put them on top of the panels, and it can change colors and it will illuminate.
Yeah, and you go to the hardware store, you get this little $3 adapter. It threads into the socket.
Right.
And it gives you an actual plug.
Right.
And you plug your LED light thing into that thing, and then now when you turn on the wall switch, the LED lights light up on top.
Or a battery-powered book light.
Yeah, or you can just eliminate that altogether and just use a book light.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any noise, just runs on batteries.
Just depends how much light you need.
That's right.
But I'm using an LED strip in my booth now. I just wrapped it around the ceiling cloud and done.
Okay.
Easy.
Great. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for now. We're going to wrap it up for good in just a minute, but right now we have a couple of spots we need to play because they help pay for this program. So we'll be right back here on Voiceover Body Shop.
This is the Latin lover narrator from Jane the Virgin, Anthony Mendez, and you're enjoying Dan and George on the Voiceover Body Shop.
Hello, VOBS viewer, listener, aficionado, fanatic. I'm David H. Lawrence, the 17th. I'm the same as you. I love this show. And I'm glad you're watching. Last week, we opened and closed registration with 1 week. That's the only week it's open for the VO Heroes Pro training curriculum. If you want to build a spectacular, successful, and practical and satisfying voiceover career, I'm here to help you with that. And one of the big questions we got was, that's a pretty hefty price tag. Do you have a payment plan? And I'm happy to tell you that I created one. For those of you who looked at the price of the incredible value that you were getting, but the price was a little outside your budget, how do we do this? So we have an option of a 3 or a 4-month plan. All you have to do is go to voheroes.com/go. That's voheroes.com/go. And you'll get all the details. If you want to jump in, but you didn't have all the money all at once, we can give you a payment plan. Check it out at voheroes.com/go. And I'll see you inside the program.
In these modern times, every business needs a website. When you need a website for your voice acting business, there's only one place to go. Like the name says, voiceactorwebsites.com. Their experience in this niche webmaster market gives them the ability to quickly and easily get you from concept to live online in a much shorter time. When you contact voiceactorwebsites.com, their team of experts and designers really get to know you and what your needs are. They work with you to highlight what you do. Then they create an easily navigable website for your potential clients to get the big picture of who you are and how your voice is the one for them. Plus, VoiceActorWebsites.com has other great resources, like their practice script library and other resources to help your voiceover career flourish. Don't try it yourself. Go with the pros. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
Your dynamic voiceover career requires extra resources to keep moving ahead. There's one place where you can explore everything the voiceover industry has to offer. That place is voiceoverextra.com. Whether you're just exploring a voiceover career or a seasoned veteran ready to reach that next professional level, stay in touch with market trends, coaching, products, and services while avoiding scams and other pitfalls. VoiceOver Extra has hundreds of articles, free resources, and training that will save you time and help you succeed. Learn from the most respected talents, coaches, and industry insiders when you join the online sessions, bringing you the most current information on topics like audiobooks, auditioning, home studio setup and equipment, marketing, performance techniques, and much more. It's time to hit your one-stop daily resource for voiceover success. Sign up for a free subscription to newsletters and reports. It's all here at voiceoverextra.com. That's voiceoverextra.com.
Yeah, hi, this is Carlos Alazraqui, the voice of Rocco, and you're watching Voiceover Body Shop.
All right, and we're back.
Did you know that that when you heard on CNN, James Earl Jones,
this is CNN.
Did you know it was essentially recorded the same way we just recorded that bumper?
Really?
Yeah, he was just in an interview, and they said, "Hey, James, will you say this is CNN?" Oh, guess what? And they did that, and they played it, and he was pissed.
Really?
Yeah, they had to make whole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That enough to send his kids through college, for something like that.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, next week on this very show, Scott Parkin will be dropping by, hopefully with a bottle of Sailor Jerry, and we're going to do some improv fun, so make sure you're here for that. That's going to be a great time. And
we have to switch to a standing set for that.
We may. Have to put the camera way back there. It'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, thanks to our donors of the week, like Robert Leadham.
Oh, I should look over there.
Yeah.
Stephen Chandler.
Casey Clack.
Jonathan Grant.
Tom Pinto.
Shelley Apple. Dr. Voice.
Antland Production. Uncle Roy.
Martha Kahn.
949 Designs.
Jonathan Grant again.
I thought I took that out. Christopher Epperson.
Sarah Borges.
Philip Sapir.
Brian Page.
Patty Gibbons.
Rob Ryder.
Shauna Pentington Baird.
Don Griffith.
Trey Mosley.
Diana Birdsall.
And Sandra Manwiller.
Thank you, everyone.
We appreciate
it. For subscribing.
That's right. So, if you need help with your home voiceover studio, one, you can watch this show. But if you want to work with one of us, like me, you can go to homevoiceoverstudio.com. Check out everything I got there. Mm-hmm. Or if you want to work with George, you go to
George the
dot tech.
I can't talk at this point. If you want a deal, type in VOBS Fan 10. You'll get 10% off your next scheduled booking.
Alrighty. And of course, thanks to our great sponsors like Harlan Hogan's Voiceover Essentials,
Voiceover Extra,
Source Elements,
VOHeroes.com,
VoiceActorWebsites.com,
JMC Demos,
and WorldVoices.org, the Industry Association of Freelance Voiceover Talent. Join today. Go to our website. It's great. Thanks to Jeff Holman for getting all those great questions in there, even the late ones.
Yep.
Put us over the top, which is what we love. Sue Merlino, who did a great job of directing the show, as usual. And, of course, Lee Penny for just being Lee Penny. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Guys, you know this is not an easy business. So much you got to learn. Technically, though, you got to get your sound just right. All the things that you got to do to get it right. But if it sounds good.
It is good.
I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
And this is Voiceover
Body Shop.
Or VOBS Tech Talk. Tech Talk. See you next week.
Thanks for the chair, Rick.